And welcome to the latest edition of What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. I am your host, Sea Tranquility publisher Pete Pardo. Today is Monday, November the 24th. We've got a lot of great new releases in the worlds of heavy metal, progressive rock, jazz fusion, hard rock, classic rock, and a whole lot more. So let's get started today. First off, we've got the debut from Brazilian metal band Nocturnal. This is on the Metalville Records label. You're listening to it right here. This is also co-produced by Russell Allen, who many of you may know as the lead singer of the mighty Symphony X, as well as Adrenaline Mob. And this is, as you can probably hear, a lot of grooves, kind of thrashy. It's melodic. It's kind of a mix of like progressive metal and thrash and modern metal. It's actually quite enjoyable. There's some great vocal harmonies on here. The lead singer, as a matter of fact, sounds a little bit like Russell Allen. Russell does a couple of guest appearances on co-lead vocals, which is kind of cool to hear. Really enjoyable CD, pretty catchy, pretty heavy, a lot of grooves. If this sounds appealing, the whole album is like this. It's progressive in spots, but not overly so. But very enjoyable and a nice surprise here in late 2014. So investigate this one, Nocturnal, from South America. We're going to jump over to the AFM label. We've got the latest from Lyrial, Skin and Bones. If you've never heard this band before, they are somewhat of a symphonic power metal band with female vocals. This is a lot of fun. A lot of catchy hooks on here. It's pretty heavy in spots. Great keyboard work, great musicianship. It's just all around really, really good stuff. And in fact, this band, and very cool booklet by the way that comes with it. It's jam-packed with all sorts of photos and lyrics and all that good stuff. But it's also got some cello on here, which is very, very interesting in addition to everything else. And cello and violin. So it's got that kind of classical bent to it as well. So really interesting CD. Very, very melodic, a lot of catchy tunes. So if you like the female-fronted power metal thing, this is that with a little twist. So investigate that one. We're going to pop over to progressive rock now. We've got the latest from Fractal Mirror, Garden of Ghosts. This band's been around for a little bit. They've had a couple releases out. This is produced by Brett Cull, also mixed by Brett Cull, who many of you know from Ekelin. This is a nice little album. I mean, not the most exciting collection of songs I've ever heard, but this band kind of has this like vintage Genesis or solo Peter Gabriel thing going. I also hear little bits of Van de Graaff Generator, especially in the vocals. But nice, good sounding keyboards, nice tunes, good melodies. Don't expect anything too aggressive. It's fairly laid back through and through, but still a nice little prog release for all of you progressive rock fans. All right, we're going to go back to the AFM label. We're going to jump all over the place here today, from prog to metal, back and forth. The latest from Korzus. This is Legion, another band from South America, from Brazil actually. These guys have been around for like 30 years and just, they're a classic sounding thrash band. And if you were to pop this CD in and you never heard the name Korzus before, you'd probably think they were like, been worshiping Slayer and Exodus and Sepultura their whole lives. And while that may in fact be true, they've actually been around just as long as those bands. And you can tell they've been around a long time. This is really, really solid thrash metal. Great guitar work, killer rhythms, drumming's all over the place. The tunes are catchy, they're heavy, they're brutal. It's just, and the production is rock solid. I mean, this is as good. Well, let's not go overboard. This is one of the most solid thrash albums I've heard this year. It may not be up to par with like the brand new Exodus, but it's not far behind it. This is pretty damn good. So if you're a thrash fan and you want to hear a band that maybe you haven't been exposed to before, because quite frankly these guys were never a household name here, definitely investigate Legion. All right, we're going to stick on AFM. It's an AFM week, folks. The latest from Lordi, Scare Force 1. Lordi's kind of like a gimmicky type of hard rock metal band. They're from Finland. They won some version of some music TV show thing a bunch of years ago. They wear these outrageous costumes, you know, horror. They look like creatures out of the Lord of the Rings. So, you know, they've kind of taken the Kiss, Alice Cooper, War thing to the nth degree. But, you know, they know how to write some good tunes. Their last couple of releases are actually pretty decent. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but there's some really good, catchy tunes on here. And it's pretty rock, and it's not overly heavy, but it's, you know, a lot of it reminds me of modern-day Kiss, or definitely modern-day Alice Cooper. So if you like that style, which I do, that's why, you know, when I heard this, I was kind of like, another Lordy album. But it's really solid. And, you know, some pretty cool artwork on here as well, which is kind of nice to see. But, yeah, Lordy, that's got to take them seriously. They're actually a really good band. All right, we've got some technical death metal here from Innsmouth, the Shadow over Innsmouth. These guys are very much into the H.P. Lovecraft thing, so it's horror and sci-fi drenched lyrics. The music, it's on Crime Records, by the way. The music is very much in the technical death metal style. Pretty solid. You know, it's not going to shock the world with originality, but if you like good up-and-coming young technical death metal bands, and I see these guys have a fairly bright future ahead of them because there's some really good musical passages on here. The guitar player is killer. He's just shredding like those 80s shrapnel guys and you know, back in the mid to late 80s. And, you know, bands to look out for. So, Innsmouth. We're going to jump over to the world of jazz right now, and just an astounding live recording from 1972 on the ECM label. This is called Hamburg 72, featuring keyboardist and reed player Keith Jarrett, Charlie Hayden, and Paul Motian, bassist and drummer extraordinaire. If you're a fan of jazz, all three of these guys are legendary. This is just incredible, an incredible live recording from 72, and you know, you gotta hand it to the ECM folks. They just always seem to deliver a product that's just so classy. It just sounds great. I mean, there's no nonsense. I mean, just look at this booklet, just, you know, jam-packed with great live photos from the event, one after another. You know, no BS here. It's just all pictures and music, and you know, just astounding playing. And you know, this, granted, this is not one of those jazz records that you're going to put on and, you know, wine and dine your wife or your girlfriend or something over, you know, a gorgeous dinner. There's some pretty daring stuff on here. Some of it's quite noisy. It's very avant-garde sounding. There are some nice passages as well, because Jarrett's just a wonderful piano player, but there's a lot of really complex avant-garde sounds on here. So if you like your jazz a little bit on the daring side, actually a lot on the daring side, you're just going to love this. You know, another absolute winner from the folks at ECM. Great live album if you love live jazz. Let's see. Also on the CD front, I don't have physical copies here, but I want to make mention. You might remember at the end of last week's episode, the latest from Primordial is called Where Greater Men Have Fallen. It's their 8th studio album. It's on Metal Blade. I can't say enough about these Irish, I guess, pagan, folk metal, black metal legends. I don't know, however you want to classify them. They don't really fit into any of those categories, but they've done bits of everything throughout their career. Just an astounding work. You know, this band is just so great. They've got one of the most unique vocalists ever, and their music is just so powerful. It's moody, it's doom-laden, it's extreme, it's, you know, melodic. Remember that name, Primordial. If you haven't gotten into this band by now, you really need to. And this latest, Where Greater Men Have Fallen, is without a doubt going to wind up on my top 20 of 2014, probably ranking pretty high up there. So, and I know a lot of folks are talking about it, so definitely check that out. Also, let's see, we're going to go over to the reissue side. Our wonderful friends at Shadow Kingdom Records have been putting out some classic Manilla Road stuff, and they're continuing on right now. We've got the 7th Manilla Road album out, being reissued right now, from 1988. It's called Out of the Abyss. Again, another one of those bands that have kind of toiled in the underground for way too long. They've just got some killer albums from throughout their career. Out of the Abyss is one of their heavier definitely more thrashy releases. They were just, a lot of people consider their golden period kind of like 82 to 86 or 87. 88 saw Out of the Abyss come out, and it's just a fantastic album. It's heavy as all hell, but it's classic metal, it's epic, it's, you know, everything that you love about Manilla Road, it's there, but it's quite a bit heavier than some of their other stuff, and they kind of would continue on in that heavy, really, really ultra heavy vein for a couple more years. So if you didn't buy it originally, it's out again. Shadow Kingdom Records, check it out. I'm going to go over to Eagle Rock. Just, it seems like every month I've got these great Blu-rays and DVDs from the Eagle Rock folks. This is the Rolling Stones from the Vault, Hampton Coliseum, live in 1981. And the Tattoo U Tour, full show. Can't go wrong with Stones rule, you know. So if you love them, you got to have this. It was actually recorded on Keith's birthday, December 18th, 1981. It's a fun show. A lot of the tunes from the then new albums of the early 80s, but a lot of classics as well. So highly recommend that. Last but not least, let's jump over to Forgotten Favorites. I pulled out a favorite of mine, which nobody seems to talk about this band anymore, but I love them. Those of you who know me know I'm a huge Deep Purple fan. It's my favorite band of all time. I love the entire Purple family tree of bands, including Rainbow and Whitesnake, and you know the rest, including Gillan, the hard rock and metal band led by Purple vocalist Ian Gillan. This has got Bernie Torme on it, on lead guitar. This is just a great band. I don't know why they never caught on here in the U.S., but they were pretty huge over in Europe. And this is heavy, slightly progressive. It's just Gillan shrieking all over the place. Torme's riffs and solos are out of control. Memorable songs. I mean, the title track is crazy. Secret of the Dance is awesome. Roller, Puget Sound. There's even a bonus track on here where they do Smoke on the Water. Pretty cool. This is on the Edsel label. They remastered and reissued all of the Gillan stuff from the late 70s and early 80s. So if you haven't checked out any of the Gillan material of this sadly overlooked band, which he basically did away with once he joined Black Sabbath, definitely check this out. It's one of my favorite albums ever. So with that, we're going to call an end to this week's edition of What's Hot. I am your host, Pete Pardo. Make sure you check us out on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. Next week, we've got kind of a special show for you. I'm going to be doing a feature on the Led Zeppelin remasters, the first 5. So we've got Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 2, Zeppelin 3, Zeppelin 4, also untitled, and Houses of the Holy. So I'm just going to dedicate an entire show just to talking about those Zeppelin remasters. So be sure you tune in if you're a Zeppelin fan. Following week, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming with more heavy metal, prog rock, jazz fusion, hard rock, you name it, we do it. So once again, for the folks at Sea and Tranquility, our wonderful staff of writers, I bid you good evening, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.